Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over that sideways action on the charts. Guys, if we do just jump over to the Discord, you can see that we are taking these kind of altcoin plays over here where we did get a nice 10% off of BONE. Guys, if you'd like to join the group, then you can take a look at the link in the description of the video below. Just going over to our last video, you can see that we did have a big alpha energy level over here at 26,147. That's usually a nice target if we do start breaking down from these pools, just as a first point of reference. And currently the price is 26,154. So basically we were just $5 off on that. Of course, the weekend has just been going sideways, and I did mention that Jerome Powell's news in raising interest rates on the back end of the Federal Reserve, that would be bearish and probably would depress the charts just a little bit, and that's why these downside targets were in play. Now, if we do just go ahead and look at our last pool there, you can see that we did enter the pool, came all the way down to the bottom of the pool, almost pin perfect precision there to the dollar accuracy. We just weren't able to hold the bottom of the pool. We did lose the neutral point of control. That put bears in charge, and now we're sitting on that alpha energy level that I did assign there for you. Again, should we lose that level, then our target would be down at the lower end of 25,000. Of course, we could find support a little bit higher. Sometimes the bulls just step in, but otherwise we might expect that to continue somewhere to the bottom of our range. If I do update that daily for you, we can see that we have a much more slender pool today. And that just means that this is the area that we'd be pretty neutral in. We wouldn't really have a strong bias. And then, of course, if we flip above the neutral point of control at 26,536, we start getting a little bit more bullish, but we can't really have a strong bias to the upside unless we get above this energy level, as well as the volatility pivot around 26,936, at which point we would be looking to take pretty significant profits around 27,614. Of course, flipping that, the sky's the limit. As we can see, our bearish control zone did move up a little bit, which does put us a little bit more at risk should we lose that downside. But you can see that our range continues to be that kind of 25,000, just say 800 to $25,200 area in general, should we just get a spike down there and then recover these levels. If we do flip down to the 8-hour, I do believe that we can see that liquidity that's just right there, right around 25,500. So a flash wick down there and then a bounce would be expected. Of course, we don't want to hang out in this area too long, or we would threaten the chart. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just go ahead and put this on a weekly. And let's go ahead and take off our new daily levels, and I can show you our origin channels. And you can see, according to these alpha origin channels, we did get a nice bounce off of it. We've been toying with this level multiple times in the past year or so, and we are now just exploring the bottom of that range, which currently resides around 24,000, let's just say 600-ish. Breaking down from there, we do have a drop all the way down to 18,000, and of course that $20,000 area would be a good target. Of course, we can catch ourselves anywhere around this area, but because we could just have a flash wick that then just brings us back up, but we really don't have super solid support until those 24s, and then of course that kind of 20 to $18,000 level. Breaching that, I call this the bloodline on the on this chart, because breaching that, we could fall into that $10,000 area, and that's what the bears are looking for. Are we going to get that? I don't know. We could just start rounding here, to be honest, and just continue on our way. We've obviously tapped the bloodline here multiple times. Should we sink further, that would just represent a greater value on the charts. Let's go ahead and just zoom in a bit and bring this over to the 2-week, because in the past, the 2-week has been very good at analyzing where this chart is likely to go. And as we can see back here, We did get a nice bounce off of the momentum pool around 25,000. That did bring us to our 2-week volatility pivot back here in June. Of course, then we had an update for you where our pivot was below us, and losing that, we were likely to drop all the way down to 26,000 after tapping 30,000. That just went straight down to our key levels, and then we have been holding that level ever since. Basically, that pool was made in July, early July. We have had a couple updates since. We did pass straight through this one. We retapped it. You can see this wick coming right up to tap it, and that was just a hard rejection off of it. But then we had another update, and this pool actually got filled pretty strongly this last week. We did have a closure on Sunday, and if we look at the daily basis, you can just see how price action conformed to my chart almost, again, just pin perfect precision. We had kind of a fake out to the downside, re-entering the pool. What happened? We just directly crossed the pool. We weren't able to acquire general continuation. We didn't even come close to getting that threshold for high energy to the upside. So we're just re-exploring the pool to the downside. Now that pool did expire on Sunday, and so I do have an update for you for the next 2 weeks. And if we take a look at this one, you can see we're just hanging out at the bottom of it. Our bias still is to the downside under this 2-week volatility pivot at 30,000. And we're not going to have a strong bias to the upside in terms of the macro until we do reacquire 30,000, but we can get a significant amount of energy above 28. So 28,000 is still my line in the sand for just front running that move on the, on a potential continuation of a bull run. And as you can see, our bullish control zone is all the way up at 34,000 now. So, if this chart does decide to just turn around and we do reacquire that pivot up here, there's a good chance that we could tap up into that $35,000 area before perhaps a hard rejection and we re-explore a mid level or the bottom of the channel that we find ourselves in at the time. However, we're nowhere near that right now. We really do need to get on top of this pool in order to add momentum to the upside. Otherwise, those lower time frames are still in control and probably looking at this liquidity to the downside. Again, for the macro, that is dangerous because this is below our key levels. It's below our neutral point of control on these macro time frames here, which just to be secure, I'd really like us to be above 26,700, 27,200 at the time being. That would stabilize the charts, so dip lower and then kind of bring it back up above 27,000. Going to feel much more comfortable about this chart, but we are just kind of hanging on by the skin of our teeth around 26,250. So that's your 2-week outlook. Guys, that's going to be your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.